she yells out to the yard, "He's a nice guy!" And then I hear out in the yard, "Well, it would have been nice to know that."
Hey, welcome back to the Stories on Tape podcast. I'm your host, Josh Robinson, and this week's storyteller knows a thing or two about podcasting. We both have a very, very, very strong love for the song Crowded Table. And if you come to him 10 minutes before he's on live television and say, "Hey, I need you to fill as much time as possible," he can. It is the one and only Michael Crosa. Hi, Michael.
Let's go. Hey, how are you, Josh?
I'm so good. How are you?
Good. Honestly, I remember that moment when you came in. I felt like such a star. You like popped your head in the green room and be like, "Hey, Michael, somebody didn't show up. Can you vamp?" I said, oh yeah, I can vamp.
And he did.
And then like I was the queen of the green room. There, everybody else was like, "Are we allowed to drink the coffee?" Yeah. That was fun. It
was always so nice to have repeat guests because we would eventually just be like, if you have any questions, ask Michael because he's in here more often than we are. So just like he knows it all. It's fine.
Yeah. Well, and it was that was fun. I mean, I think that particular era of both of our chapters in Chattanooga, because I'm a person who loves connecting people. Like, that's a fun thing to do. And then you're a really fun person to connect people to. Of like, like, "Hey, let me introduce you to my buddy Josh. Like, maybe they'll get on TV."
Maybe, and they probably did. If you introduced them to me, they probably did. Okay, before we tell any more stories, I want to know, do you have a story that you can share with us that tells us who Michael is if we have never met you before?
Yes.
Perfect.
I have the story that I've been like excited to tell you. Mm-hmm. Is this that moment?
Let's do it.
Yes, let's do it. Okay, because this has nothing to do with podcasting. It has not a lot to do with Chattanooga even. Okay, so I have Tourette syndrome. Have we talked about that ever?
I don't know, actually.
Is it known? Are you aware?
I feel like that there's a distant memory somewhere that feels like you've told me that once, maybe. But okay, now I know for sure.
Now we know. And that's the story is about that. And so quick overview on Tourette syndrome. So Tourette syndrome is a neurological condition. It's basically just a whole lot of nervous tics. So people will have like physical tics. For me, that's kind of mostly what happens is you'll often see kind of like my face do a little twitch or whatever. At this point in my life, it's very mild and very minor. Sometimes people will have vocal tics. Well, they'll say words or sounds or things like that. That has happened to me in different points in my life. And it's involuntary. It's not necessarily related to what you're thinking. And like a lot of times people think like, oh, you get to get away with calling somebody a bitch. And it's like, it's really more likely what it is like somebody's really anxious. They don't want to yell bitch right now. Right? Like this would be the absolute worst time to yell that word. And that's the disorder, mm-hmm. right? Yeah, and that's the disorder is that they do, and it's not behavioral; it's a neurological thing. So anyway, so then my story with that, most people develop that slowly when they're like, little kids or whatever, 3 or 4. They're like, so and so's a little twitchier than the others. For me, it was very different in that it developed not even overnight, Josh. It was over lunch.
Oh.
In high school, in my junior year of high school. So March 16th, 2007, it was a big day.
Wow, we know the day.
Yeah, we absolutely know the day. And most likely, who knows, but most likely what happened, because there is some science to kind of back this up, is that I had a strep infection, which I did a week before, and that it traveled up to the brain, did some whatever damage, something medical, whatever. PANDAS is actually the name for it. It stands for pediatric autoimmune. That's not the point of the story. So anyway, all of this is to say, all of this is to say that day, like I came back from lunch, I sat down in pre-cal, and like all of a sudden I had this like jerk, this full body jerk, and I was like, did I do that? And then my arm went out to the side, and then like just other stuff started happening. I was like, what the hell is going on? Yeah, so fast forward anyway, it took several months to get a diagnosis, what was going on, medical mystery, like all that kind of stuff. Okay, that's the background. That's where we are. Michael goes to college, has only had this disorder for a year and a half at that point. And going to college is like a big deal for identity, right?
Absolutely.
Of like,
Start over,
that's when
be
you're
whoever you want to be. Yeah.
Totally. Yeah. And when I was in high school, like it was a thing that had happened to me, right? And that was sort of like the storyline because everybody knew me before and after. And a lot of times people ask like, oh, were you bullied? It's like, no, because everyone was afraid it was going to happen to them. You know what I mean? Like that they knew me before. Anyway, so so go to college, and it was very different because all of a sudden, like now everybody knew me just as this new thing that was presenting to them. I was the guy with Tourette's, and I think a lot of that was just in my own head, right? Of like, I know I'm the guy with Tourette's, and again, at that point in life, it was much more severe. So like, I'd have arm movements really big, or I'd have, if I did get stressed out, I would start to have some focal tics and things like that. So, so again, this is not the Michael Crosa you see before you today. So that's that context. Next context. My dad is really big into public speaking, or was anyway. But
okay.
And he was always saying, he was like, Mike, the guys with disabilities kill it. Go, like, be a motivational. Try to get into motivational speaking. Like
No.
You have a story to tell. It was like okay, like I mean, I'm open to it, but like, how do you just start that?
Right.
Okay. Freshman year of college, I have Tourette syndrome. I have this interest, desire, or whatever to do some public speaking. And I see on the flyer board in the dorm room a stand-up comedy competition.
Yes.
Oh, interesting. And the thought occurred to me of like, okay, I can sign up for a 3-minute slot. I don't have to audition. And this can be like, forget stand-up comedy. This can be an opportunity for 3 minutes. They're not going to pull me off the stage, so I can just do whatever I want for 3 minutes and practice public speaking, right?
Sure.
Great. So I said, okay, so let's do that. So I signed up, and I came up with some jokes about Tourette syndrome from my perspective, because it's very easy to, do the laugh at, like, oh, wouldn't it be so funny if you yelled bitch and, whatever. Okay. So anyway, scrawny little Michael, I sign up for the thing, I get to go, and that was my whole, like, motivation for doing this, right? And when I, like, at some point I find out, like, oh, this is for, like, it's a competition. The winner gets to open for Lewis Black.
Oh, sure.
Here's some more context. Yeah, Lewis Black, who I think he's been on some of the, like, the Jon Stewart shows or some of those shows. He was the voice of anger in Inside Out. His kind of character is this, like, very angry kind of Jewish guy and, like, whatever.
All the time. Yes.
All the time. He went to, for undergrad, he went to UNC Chapel Hill, which is where I was at school. And he apparently comes back every year or every so often or whatever to do a show. And so this stand-up comedy competition was to open for Lewis Black. How cool. I didn't really know that when I signed up. But anyway, so go up there. And I start reading my jokes. And it's somewhere, I should have watched this video before coming. I don't even remember exactly all the jokes. But Josh, I do remember one. I remember.
Give it to me, Michael. I'm ready. I'm so ready.
So I think it was a total of 6 jokes, and like the first 3 were kind of like basic whatever. I told them, oh, I'm in the marching band because I was, and I played bass drum because I did, and then I did kind of a joke where I like held the microphone and faked a tick, and then boom, hit the microphone on my hand, and I mean, it's a funny, it's an unexpected thing, or whatever, and then I think I said something like, and I have a girlfriend now, and of course, I'm a dirty guy, yeah, whatever. But when we're having sex, I don't even have to do anything. I just stand there, and my Tourette's does the rest.
And the college crowd loved it. Loved it.
In the college crowd, yeah, wow. And that's so embarrassing. Just saying this like cold on a 2 o'clock in the afternoon in the office. Anyway, okay. So all of that to say, it went well.
Sure.
It went well. It went surprisingly well. And especially for having gone in with the thing of like, all I'm going to try to do is to talk about Tourette's, tell it from my point of view, and just see how it goes. For that goal, it went so well. I got a lot of laughs, I got a lot of responses, and then like as I'm leaving the room, I happened to notice, oh shit, there's Lewis Black. Like he's in the back of there, and like of course he was, but I just didn't know, right, that he was in the room. And so here I just like, man, the first time doing stand-up comedy, Lewis Black is in the audience. How cool is that? And so I'm like riding on that high, and the next day, just going about whatever business, and I got a text from somebody that was like, oh hey, Lewis Black he's over in the pit, like hanging out, just if you want to swing by. And I was kind of in the area, so I went by. And I'm walking up to him, and I kind of faked it a little bit. I did a little head twitch to the side, and as I walked up, he goes, "Hey, you're the guy! You're the guy with the fucking Tourette's."
That is me, Lewis. That is me.
That is me. Did I mention that my office is in like a Christian nonprofit building?
So they're loving this. So what we're also learning is Michael's going to get kicked out of his office as soon as this episode is over.
Right. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Not in yeah. Too. I'm not part of that nonprofit. I've just happened to have an office here. Anyway, so and he was really cool. Man, he was really cool. He said that he had a friend who also had Tourette's and told me some story about something, whatever. But it was really cool, man, to like, again, to go into this with pretty low expectations, get to perform for Lewis Black, get recognized by him the next day. I mean, how cool is that? You know what I mean?
Did you then get to open? Did you win the contest?
No, I didn't. That's the big finish, isn't it? No, I didn't win. But like through the grapevine, I was considered, maybe like runner up or something like that. But I don't really know. I don't know that for sure. But
I love that, Michael. That. Yes. Mm-hmm. And so then my question is, for the rest of college, were you known as the comedic guy with Tourette's?
Well. Okay, so I tried it again next year, and the next year I tried to like actually win the competition, and so of course I didn't do well.
Sure.
But I did start reaching out to, because again, like how am I going to get into public speaking? So I reached out to some of the psychology professors. I was a psych major, and I'm trying to remember exactly how it all went down. I think that during a particularly severe kind of like week or two, I had sent an email to some of my professors of like, hey, just a heads up, like if anything happens, I just want you to know that that's me. And that started a conversation with one of the professors, and one thing led to the other, and she invited me to give a presentation in one of her classes. And that was very cool. Yeah. That also went really well. My dad flew from Florida to come support me and like sit in the classroom and watch. And then being the egocentric guy that I am, I like for the rest of college, I reached out to all my professors or all the psych professors. And so kind of regularly I was doing these Tourette talks in the different psych classes, to the point that every now and then I would show up in the classroom. People would say, "Oh, it's him. We can skip this class."
They
We've heard it
immediately
before.
just stand up and leave the classroom. Like, we've heard it. Year 3.
Yeah,
Come on.
it happened. But hey, whatever. Yeah.
That's so funny.
So I actually did, and with Tourette syndrome, one of the, because like I was talking before about how like it kind of hinges on the nerves of it, sort of, or that can be a big component of it. And so one of the biggest treatments that they say is education of self and others, because the more that you have the name out there, the more that you're comfortable with talking about it, then the less anxiety you have about it, then the less disruptive it is to the world around you, like all that kind of stuff. And so in that way, I kind of roped the UNC psychology department into my own treatment, and it was great.
How cool.
Yeah.
Do you ever get
Built
to
up
go?
my public speaking resume.
Do you ever get to go back or do you like keep in touch with any of those professors or anything?
I don't. I should. The one professor who kind of threw me that first opportunity, her name was Dr. Loeb, Jeannie Loeb, Loeb. Somebody later pointed out what a funny pun that, like brain lobe,
Yes.
the brain,
Yes.
psychology professor. But no, that was, she was very, very important in my, both college career and identity development, right?
How cool. How cool. I did not know all this about you. 2 other things that came from that. One, there was a guy that I went to college with, and the like weekend before freshman year every year, it's like, the big welcome weekend, and they do all kinds of things. And we would always have a hypnotist, and this guy got up there. His name is Oren, Oran. And he was up there, and the hypnotist kept asking him his name, and he finally goes, "It's like orange without the GE." And so for like all of freshman year, that's how he was known, that's orange without the GE. Or at least every time I saw him, that's what I thought. So that, yes, any like connection you can make freshman year, sometimes it's great, sometimes not so good. And then were you in marching band?
Heck yeah, I was.
Okay, I
Heck
did.
yeah.
Have we talked about this?
Maybe. Let's talk about it again. I don't know.
I was in drumline for a year.
What?
Yeah.
We have not talked about
Okay, great.
this.
I attempted being the key word here in the sentence, to play the quads, the 4, and then the 2 little ones.
Oh, I know. Yeah.
Couldn't march and play at the same time. Kind of defeats the purpose. So they moved me to Pitt, and then I joined the choir and theater department and TV, and was much happier with my life.
And the rest is history.
And here we are.
Yeah.
And here we are.
How
How did you get
Yeah.
started connected with it?
So I did drumline in high school, and I always loved learning different instruments more so than kind of perfecting one. And so percussion was the main instrument, but in high school I think I had learned like baritone horn, a little bit of French horn, clarinet. It was just all over the band
A
room.
savant.
And
wow.
So my freshman year of college, I was in the drumline, bass drum, and so they have kind of like the graduated sizes of bass drum, and I lost a game of nose goes and got assigned the biggest one, number 7 of 7, which was 32 inches across, which is huge.
Yeah.
And for a scrawny, wimpy little freshman, it was a struggle. And I had ended up in the health center a couple times. I think once because of back strain, and once because like the pressure on my legs was causing some numbness or something like that.
Oh, super casual. Yeah.
Yeah, no big deal. But it like, because of that, and then also, if we're being honest, like, yes, it's cool to be the biggest bass drum in the field. Also, all my part is 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, boom, 2, 3. That's it, And so I was gonna quit. I had joined Phi Mu Alpha, which is a music fraternity. I was very active in that. It was a lot of fun. Not your typical fraternity, experience, but still a very close, and positive experience. They convinced me to give it a go on trumpet. So then my sophomore year of college, I marched trumpet, and that was much lighter than the 32-inch bass drum.
Correct.
But by that point, I was kind of over it, and so I didn't do it. I didn't do after that.
Wow, but you stuck with it first 2 years of college. That's impressive. That was like me with Spanish. I did it for one semester freshman year of college, and I said, nope, I'm not. I did it for 3 years in high school. And she spoke Spanish the entire class period, and I said, oh, no. This is an awakening, and nope.
Here's some stupid shit I did.
Yes.
Not stupid shit. It's very Michael Crosa shit. I also had a Spanish class, and again, I knew that my strength lies in musical instruments. Mm-hmm. Not very good at, fine at, I just didn't want to learn Spanish, so we had to do like a 5-minute presentation or something about some cultural element or whatever. I ordered an Andes Mountain, a flute, some flute from like Peru or something like that. I learned how to play it so that was like 1 or 2 less minutes worth of Spanish presentation.
Incredible. Listen, know your strengths. Know your strengths and
use them. Play to them. There you go.
I love this. I love
funny.
This.
And then speaking of shenanigans, musical shenanigans in college, so I was a psych major, but I just kept taking and kept finding music classes that filled gen ed requirements.
Sure.
Like the mathematical reasoning, of course, it's like a whole list of math classes and music theory 101. Oh, okay. Check. I'll take that. And like global perspectives. Oh, world music theory. Great. Just stuff like that. I was doing it, and then by the time I started my junior year, I was still on track with the other music majors. A lot of them thought I was a music major. And so I kind of tacked on the music thing at the end. And here's the shenanigan that I probably shouldn't say, but I can. Whatever. I got the degree.
We can edit if we need to.
No, let's go for it.
Okay,
so
let's go for
I
it.
went to, how they got the departmental advisors who actually know what's going on.
Right.
And then they've got the general advisors who are kind of like the generalist advisors for general degrees like psychology. And so I'd gone to one of those to do whatever, and he like pulled up the worksheet for music. And he was like, "Oh yeah, it's a big, it's just there's like we can fill a whole bunch of electives. They got a ton of room for electives, so we'll just make your plan up here, and good to go." And kind of towards the end of college, I realized like, oh, that's the spot where you're supposed to put lessons. Like you're supposed to pick an instrument. Mm-hmm. And the departmental advisor would have known that, but that guy didn't. And so when people ask what my instrument was, I just tell them theory and history.
Incredible.
Because it was. Yeah. And I love that stuff, man. I love the theory. I love the B flats and the major thirds and all that, the paperwork, the sheet music. That's my jam, dude. I'd so much rather sit down and arrange something than actually perform something or whatever.
Okay. I'm learning so much about you right now. I did not know. I knew that you were a musical person, but I didn't know it was that kind of that side of the musical world. How cool. And then a perfect segue, you and your amazing wife, who is a chorus teacher, correct? I'm not confusing. Yes. So nope. How did y'all meet? And then did you click in your love of music immediately?
We met the good old fashioned way through online dating.
Same. Yes. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I've told that a million times. Yes. So because I'm an egocentric son of a bitch, let me make a brief connection through to podcasting and lead us, because I promise it's going to come back, honey. I love you. I promise it's going to come back. So, okay, so musical stuff, college. I went into university administration as a job. That's, whatever. That's what I did for a long time. Music was a hobby. Eventually, I started this brass quintet called Jollyville Brass Quintet. COVID happened. We had to put the horns down. That evolved into a fiction podcast called Jollyville Radio, which is a podcast. Fast forward, we did like skits and interviews and, stuff, a bunch of fun stuff like that. Okay, fast forward. COVID kind of ended. Did it end? It didn't really end. But, the quarantine stuff was over. Nobody wanted to stay on Zoom that much. And I mean, we had a big cast. We had like 24 people on cast. So 24 people didn't want to sit around on Zoom anymore. Okay, so I had this whole thing. Okay, now we matched on Hinge, and she had like sent me a heart, and I didn't respond right away because I was about to have tonsil surgery, and I didn't want to like match and then go out for like a week. But then that got rescheduled, so then I responded, and she always said, "You left me on red for however long," but I think she saw in one of my photos because it had been taken at a brass quintet rehearsal, but it wasn't like instruments weren't in the photo, but you could kind of see in the background it was in the choir room of this church that let us rehearse there. And she, being a choir teacher, she recognized, she's like, I know that kind of shelving. That's choir shelving. And so anyway, so we're chatting, and when we matched, one of the first things that she said was, "Hey, I'm in Scotland. I'm about to get on a plane to Ireland." It might have been the other way around. I think it was the other way around. "And tell me the name of your podcast. I'm going to download it, and then I'm going to listen, and then I'm going to ask you questions about it."
Yes.
And like, isn't that so sweet? And for an egocentric son of a bitch, that like,
that really the head
you
want
to listen to my right?
He wasn't exiting any doors that day. He was not going out any doors.
No. Mm-hmm. Right. So she did. She listened to a few episodes, and she actually like took notes. She had questions like, "How did you make this sound effect?" and that kind of stuff. And that was really sweet. And so eventually I don't really remember exactly how long it took. It took a couple days where she mentioned something about lessons of like, "Oh yeah, I have to go do lessons." And I said, "Hannah, are you a musician?" And she wrote back like, "Yes, are you?" And yeah, the rest was and so okay, so she's this is more good story.
Bring it on.
Bring it on. Let's go. One of my favorite stories of our relationship to tell. So she was on a trip in the UK, right? When we actually matched. And so we had gotten to know each other by text kind of over the course of like a week or 2 weeks, and gotten excited about each other, realized like, okay, this is a serious person that I'm really interested in. And she lived at the time about an hour and a half away from Chattanooga, and which is, that's significant, right? And so for our first date, I said, hey, I know it's a long drive. I want us to make sure we have plenty of time to make your drive worth it. Not to suggest anything at all, but like, can I cook you dinner? Would you like to come over? I've got instruments. We can, you know what I mean? Like we can play some music together or something like that. We could do that. So yes, cool, right?
That's so sweet.
Isn't it sweet? And so she came over. And we cooked dinner, had all my bachelor pad furniture, like one of those outdoor glass tables inside with a plastic tablecloth, and but hey, doing my best.
We were there, yes.
And yeah, we've all been there. So we're having a good time. We're not looking at phones or anything. That's the sign of a good date, right?
Absolutely.
Of like, you don't even know where your phone is, and so sure enough, we go play some songs. She shows me She Used to Be Mine from Waitress.
Yes.
Which, do you know that song?
Oh, absolutely.
That's like, it's perfectly in her range. And like that's like her, you know what I mean? That's her song. And so she's playing that for me, and I'm like trying to bang out the chords on the piano, and like I show her how to play bass guitar. She's never done that before, but I show her how to play like a 1-4-5 chord progression, and so then we're jamming and like whatever, and we're having a good time, and time's going by, right? It's dark out. It's like 10:30. We're cleaning up. She helped me do the dishes. We're cleaning up, and then all of a sudden we hear on the door, boom, 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 boom. Oh shit!
Hello?
That's not a good thing at 10:30 p.m.
No.
This is not a good thing. So I'm like, oh shit! I don't know what to do here, and I look over and I see like the door is unlocked, and like shit, I should have locked the door, and she like. She's kind of behind me, and then she goes, oh, I know what this is. And I thought, you do? And I'm like, does she have some, like, ex who's, like, coming to, like, bang down the door? He's got an axe outside or something like that? Like, what? And so she goes out, and she opens the door. She yells out to the yard, he's a nice guy! And then I hear out in the yard, well, it would have been nice to know that.
Who was tracking her? Who was tracking her?
Her best friend, her cousin, and her middle sister were
incredible
in the car in the front yard.
How far had they driven?
45 minutes.
Oh,
because again, we weren't looking at her phones, and she even says she didn't even tell them, like, I'm not even, she didn't even set like a time of like, if you don't hear from me, like, come get me. She didn't even do that. They just didn't hear from her. They knew that she was going to some stranger's house, and so they took it upon themselves to come and rescue her from the murderer who had her in the basement.
And thankfully, I do love that they
Thankfully, I wasn't.
I also love that they didn't stay at the door. They like knocked and then
right,
I guess went back to the car, and then
they did, and they stayed on the street. She said they pulled down to the stop sign at the corner and they just waited there because we were already we were doing the dishes, we were already wrapping up, but
like knocked and ran waited. And then like
they waited for her ass.
That's hysterical. But man, she's loved.
She is loved. And that's the thing. She was mortified, but like to me that's like the biggest green flag. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And dude, it is proven true because like I married into such a good in-law family. I'm so thankful and lucky both that I have them as my extended family and that my son now has like those are his aunties.
Yes.
Those women that came and like knocked on the door, those are his aunties. Hell yeah. Right? Can you imagine a more badass way?
They're going to be the one he calls when something goes wrong in 15 years. And then you'll hear about it.
What's funny is I didn't even make that connection until I'm telling you this story right now. Like, that's badass.
Correct.
I hope they listen to this.
Share it with them. Yes.
Grace, Malia, Laura, I see you.
Thank you for the green flag.
I see you.
Thank you for the green flag.
Yes. 100%.
And speaking of your cooking skills, I have gotten to partake with a dinner and game night only once, which is unfortunate. I don't know why we never got to like make it happen again. I want to say it was spaghetti. Is that right?
Man, I don't remember.
Couldn't tell. But we did play Ticket to Ride.
Yes.
That I do remember.
Yeah, we did.
Are you a big board game family?
Medium.
Okay.
And I say that knowing that that's a very exponential curve. You know what I mean?
Sure.
Like,
sure.
Board. Yeah. Here's what I am though. And you talked about crowded table at the beginning.
Yes.
Here's my thoughts on this is, I've seen a few memes and I believe it heavily that like everybody wants a village, but nobody wants to be a villager.
Yeah.
And I find that both accurate to myself in the negative way. Like I'm called out, and also I'm called to action by that. Of like, we live in a world that is more isolated, I think, than our even recent ancestors. So we gotta do what we can. We gotta invite people who we haven't hung out with before over for board games. We gotta do that, and we gotta keep doing that. And like, it is a shame that we didn't do it again. It's lovely that we did it.
Agreed.
You know what I mean?
Agreed.
Both, right? And it's lovely that I get to connect with you, and that I feel like today, like that I like when we logged on, I felt that sense of like, hell yeah, that's my boy Josh. Like, I'm excited to see you again.
Yes, absolutely.
Even though we're miles apart now. And I like, okay, so in the parenting world, I'm finding that of like, okay, like, so we, for example, the only real kind of like thing that we do is we do swim lessons. And he's 2 years old. He just turned 2 this last weekend. And we've been doing swim lessons for a little over, right? I know. Didn't time fly?
That's crazy.
Yeah. I know you remember when all that stuff happened. So we do swim lessons, and it's like he's at this age where it's the kid and a parent, and maximum of 4 pairs per class, and we're doing like basic hold your breath and stuff like that. And I was going for months, and I was like, man, I don't even know. It's like almost like dog park rules of like, like, oh, you're so-and-so's dad, right?
Yes.
But like you don't actually know the person's name. And eventually it occurred to me, like, if I'm not the motherfucker out here like introducing myself to people, like nobody's gonna. And step up, let's go. Ooh. So now, and I'll be honest too, is that welcome? Do other people want it? I don't really know. And I think especially too, if you're in a pool environment, and I try to be sensitive of like, women especially may not like that.
Right.
So luckily there is another dad in the class, also named Michael. I try to make it a point. Yeah, right. Yeah. Like, oh, Michael, and like, so I'll like check in with him. I'll say it to the other parents, like, oh, hey, good to see you. Have you been to this class time before? Like, whatever, like, whatever. And then also try to read. If they're not trying to talk, that's fine too. And invite them to birthday parties, and they didn't come. But that's okay. We got to.
Yes.
You got to throw it out there. You got to throw it out there. And if somebody throws you that of like, well, we don't really know them, like, have I still flaked out? Yeah, hell yeah, I've flaked out. But like, it's worth it to go to stuff. It's worth it. It's worth it to do that.
Absolutely.
And,
no.
Man, I don't know how we got on this. You
no,
got my heart here.
No, I totally agree. Since moving to New York City, I've had a few people like just reach out on social media, and like because of my posting about theater, I've made a new friend, and we've seen shows together. And like there would have been no other reason for us to like meet, but now like we know more about each other than just my love of theater, and it's just and that's how you find people. That is how you find your people. Your chosen family, if you will, is
heck yeah.
Going to the things that you're like, that could be a little weird, but it could also mean that you make friends like Michael and Hannah, who you don't get to see very often, but when you do, it feels like, no time has passed and you can pick up right where you were. So
yeah,
you have very much inspired me with that that little message right there, Mr. Public Speaker Michael Crosa.
Call for bookings.
Yeah. Do it, everyone.
Do it.
I want to go back to the story we started telling. What do you remember about the day being on the Daily Refresh, and me popping my head into the green room?
That specific day, not a whole lot.
Okay.
I do remember sort of like the overall arc of all that.
Yeah.
I think the first time that you reached out to me by email, because I was like, man, I'm totally out of podcasting now, and
right.
I'm very happily so. But at the time, I was really pounding the pavement of like really trying to get it out there and really trying to do that grind. And so when you reached out and was like, hey, like, I see you got this podcast, like, for one, that was like amazing validation of like, holy shit, the TV station reached out to me. You know, that felt like $1 million.
Yeah.
And that's also why, to be honest, it was so exciting to introduce people to you, is because like vicariously I got to pimp out my friend Josh and like get all the kudo points of like, oh yeah, wow, isn't Michael so
Michael's
cool?
connected.
He got me on
He knows
TV.
the people.
Yeah, oh wow, he knows the TV guy. and like now I know it's like it's not like that, but it also is like that.
Oh yeah,
you know what I mean?
Yeah,
of like, yeah. And so anyway, so that was the first thing, and was very excited to go on the show and talk about. I think at the time, I think I was doing the My Part of Town Chattanooga podcast.
Yes.
And then you had me come on at different times to talk about different things. I started like the podcasting network in Chattanooga and a few other things, and yeah, coming was always fun, and I enjoyed, because like, you know, it's podcasting, right? So like, you want me to talk for 3 minutes? Yes, I can talk for 3 minutes.
Easily.
Are you kidding? Like,
easily.
And you were like, can you go for double time? Like, dude, I don't even keep track of time. Like, I just like, and I think that's what I remember is like when you were like, okay, and that's time, and I thought we were doing a double spot, and like, yeah, that was.
Yep, it was.
Great. Actually, I think the first time something was wrong with my mic. And then
yes, I think
yeah,
you're
and
right.
so like my voice was picking up through like wherever you were mic'd up. I mean, it's neither here nor there, but
so I'm sure I felt bad and was like,
that.
guys, we have to have him back on, and then we had you on
so
a few
it was
times.
a pity.
Oh.
Yeah.
Pity, but also like, I want to make this right. I want you to have a clip for social media too.
Yeah.
And then I just remember there were several days where either like guests last minute no-showed or like we had it wrong, whatever happened. I was like, oh no, I think you did like the whole middle of the show, which was like 8 to 10 minutes. And I was like, we have 4 to 5 minutes to fill. And I was like, oh, Michael Crosa's here.
Michael Crosa.
We're chiller than a polar bear. Like
we're in good hands.
We are safe, everyone. But yeah, no, I was like, you good to just talk?
You.
And you were like, yeah, absolutely. I said, perfect. Next.
Yeah.
Next thing to worry about. Here we go.
Yeah.
Yeah. So.
Well, and I remember too. So in the time I was in BNI network, business networking group. And at the end, I heard you say something like on the air, like, hey, do you know any local businesses? You know, we want to know, like, let us know, get connected. And I was like, is that real? Because I got people. I know people that would love to be on the show. And I think I probably sent you like 15 like different email addresses right away. And then like, yeah, over the course of, you know, the next 2 years or however long it was, so just like kind of feed you people every now and then, and yeah, that was fun.
It was greatly appreciated. And one of them was Megan Splon, who we have had on the podcast. Yes.
Yeah, and she became a regular, I think, right?
She did. And again, someone that I could say, hey, can you talk? And she was like, yeah. I'm like, great. Next.
She knew it.
Oh, yeah. Where does your love, or like, how did you discover that you are good at and enjoy connecting people?
To a certain degree, I think there's sort of kind of some natural stuff in there. I think so. I was an RA in college. Shocker. And you know, I think with that there comes some natural, you know, want to like just help support people, and a lot of that is connecting people when they're, you know, in a new environment and stuff like that. I think the podcasting was a lot of fun because that was able to, that was a way to get to know people and like is sort of like, as you probably know with the TV show, it gives you a reason to talk to people. It gives you like an excuse to just sort of like open up hey, I have a podcast. Do you want to talk? And people, oh yeah, sure. And then and then you get to know people. And then, oh, hey, actually, you might also be interested in this other podcast. And let me connect you to these people or those people. And the business networking is fun too, because BNI kind of like incentivizes that. And
Yes.
so that was also fun. And I think that's just, it's just a fun thing to do.
Absolutely. Well, you're so good at it too. Like, I think your personality alone just like
Oh, thanks.
leans into that. Now I'm gonna make his head even bigger.
Let's go.
But it is like, you were just a person that like we hung out a few times, like outside of just like as friends, and every time I was like, oh, this is just so easy. Like, it's chill. Like, there's no pressure. There's no like, oh, what's the next topic of conversation going to be? Like, it just always flows so easily. And then Hannah too, like, you both just, I mean, Hannah and I discovered that we have a lot in common, like bringing up wise, and so we connected through that. Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah.
Also very good. I mean, and honestly, like, okay, so I think I even brought you to a BNI meeting.
Yes.
And you said, so yeah, it was like when the first time I met you on the show and you said like the businesses, and I was like, oh, I got people. And then you said something else in the BNI meeting that just sort of like, I think you might have said something like, hey, I'm just new in town and I'm trying to, and it kind of occurred to me of like, oh, did I just put this guy on a pedestal a little bit of like, here, I kind of thought that like, I mean, here's this like, wow, this like really big like TV, and he's just a guy like, just like me. And I mean, not, I don't mean that like downplaying your achievements at all. But
no, not at all.
But like, oh, this is just a person. This is a person, and I want to be friends with that guy. And so I think I even said to you kind of blatantly like, hey man, if you're up for like being friends or whatever, like let's go meet at that cookie place. And
that's right.
And yeah,
yes,
and, another Megan friend of ours. And and I remember thinking that too, of like, wow, we're gonna go hang out with Josh the TV guy. And then yeah, like hanging out is like, oh man, this is fun. This is so easy. He's an easy conversationalist. This is fun. And in the way of like shoot your shot, like again, invite people to things.
Yes.
Like
yes.
Stuff is so less awkward, I think, than we think it think it's gonna be.
We've mentioned it a few times, the song Crowded Table. I have it's like, I think it speaks perfectly to the kind of environment that both of us want to create for others. Do you remember like how you found that song, or why it became such a special song for you?
Yes. Have we talked about this before?
I want to say,
you're prompting a story.
I want to say yes, but I don't remember specifically.
Okay, let's go the whole way.
Let's do it.
At the time, 2019, 2020. I was dating somebody who didn't want to have children, and I, for my whole life, have always wanted to have children.
Sure.
And that was just a difficult, at a very deep level, very difficult piece of that. And you know how, confirmation bias, you hear things you want to hear. So crowded table, like I want a house with a crowded table. That meant something very specific to me. And that had to do with family and kids and things like that. And so anyway, whatever, fast forward. And then another friend of mine, Brian Ammons, who I adore dearly. I don't think you've ever met him, but he's a wonderful person. He and his husband, Gareth Higgins, have been just really, really important people in my life. They're kind of like the older brothers that I didn't have. They're who I want to be when I grow up. They do amazing, like, community building within their own world and their own life. Like they have that, like they have chosen family reunions, if that tells you the kind of like world that they have built.
Yeah.
The kind of like, yeah. So anyway, so he mentioned and he's a pastor, and we're, I'm not religious, but he's a pastor, and we're he's one of my closest friends. And so anyway, so he mentioned something about at whatever we're doing, we're reading crowded table as a prayer. And at the time, remember, I had this very specific meaning behind that song, and I was like, "What are you talking about?" He said, "Crowded table." I said, "Yeah, what does that have to do?" It's like a bunch of fertile women singing about having a crowded table. And he laughed. He said, "You straight son of a bitch!" Like
Open our mind just a little bit, Michael. Maybe
just a little bit, but again, and that's why I said, like, this. It's such a silly story, and looking back on it, but again, that's where I was at. That's what it meant to me at the moment.
Sure.
And I realized, like, oh wow, that has a much broader meaning than I had ascribed to it. So, anywho, but this I'm connecting it back. Okay, so. Fast forward, whatever. I guess it's not even fast forward that many. It's not that many years. But so let's say maybe 2023. Mm-hmm. No, 2022. Ended. Yeah, 2023. Beginning of 2023. I've been dating Hannah for probably about 6 months. We found out she's pregnant. It was a very happy surprise.
Great.
And great. And like we had already decided, like 3 months into dating, we had already decided, okay, you're my person. And so like, it was a surprise, but it wasn't, you know what I mean?
Right.
It wasn't a surprise that it was going to happen. It was a surprise when it happened.
Yes.
So, then we go to one of those chosen family reunions. We got to go, and it was in Asheville in April. So she would have been maybe 2 or 3 months pregnant, so it was still pretty fresh. Mm-hmm. And the way that they do the chosen family reunions is like, it's almost like a conference, in that like, if you have something something you've been working on, something you want to share, or something you want to get feedback on, you can host sessions. So and so's writing a book and they want to get, whatever. So-and-so's just finished a painting and they want to share it with, whatever.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like that. And then at the end of the night, there's songs and kind of gathering, little performance and stuff like that. And so it ended with the group singing Crowded Table. Brian, by the way, having been a part of my life, like, both during that relationship was really hard, but also all the way back to my first marriage, he helped me through, which I don't know, that's another surprise, but like, he helped me get through like that divorce and like move on and like, oh, this right. So this is somebody who's been around for very important parts of my life. And we're singing Crowded Table, and I'm standing there next to Hannah, and I just put my hand on her belly, and it was beautiful, man. It was beautiful. I'm crying, sitting there crying. I think Hannah was too. And I make eye contact with Brian across the room, and he understands. You know what I mean? Like, he knows what's happening. Mm-hmm. So like, he starts crying, and then after the song, everybody else is kind of like dispersing, and he comes over and gives me a hug, and dude, I lost it, and I'm like sobbing, and like, I know that sounds like poetic and silly, but like, this really happened, of like just holding on to him, hugging him so dearly, and just crying and just saying like, Brian, I'm so happy, that's
I'm getting emotional. I think you've told me the story one other time, and it is so good. And that anytime I hear that song, or if I need if I need to like sing a song, I'm like, put it on, I'm gonna yell in the apartment, it's fine. Or if I just need like a mood boost, if I just need to like feel good and like remember that there are people in my life that this equates to, and that like I could bring around my table, I want a house with a crowded table and a place by the fire for everyone. And I think it's just so perfect, and it says it in such an easy way, but it's like, yeah, that's all I want. I just want people around that love me and that I love, and that always know that no matter what, they have a place here. It might not be the most comfortable.
Yeah.
We might be sleeping on air mattresses, but you have a place, you're safe, and you can come whenever you want.
Yeah. And also that, like, I've taken it upon myself, I, as in the singer, the speaker of the song, I've taken it upon myself to build this space for you. I put your picture on the wall, you know?
Yes.
I blew up the air mattress or whatever.
Yes.
There's no lyric about an air mattress.
I put the plastic tablecloth over the glass table that's supposed to be outside, but it was for you. And that's what matters. That's what matters.
There it is.
Oh, I love it. Can we talk about being a dad? I'm not one. So
yeah.
I love that.
Okay, I am.
I love getting to talk to people around my age and like experience them be parents, because I think our parents, it was very different. And seeing, I mean, even people like in between us and our parents, like those people and now us, I think it's very fun and it's very interesting to watch. So what has that been like for you over these last 2 years now?
Well, oh, look, here's a picture. Oh, wait a minute. I got a little digital frame. I'm sorry. This is Brian in the overalls.
Yes.
And his husband, Gareth, and then our friend, Evan. And that's taken possibly even at that very thing. Sorry, that just came. Wow. I've got this little digital slideshow, or frame on slideshow, and that picture just came up. Anyway, okay, sorry. You were asking about dad life. It has been wonderful. It's been amazing. And like I said, I'm somebody who always wanted, like, I remember in elementary school, like that early. So my parents started me on drums, like drum lessons in elementary school. But I decided that I wanted to learn guitar because I wanted to play my kids to sleep the way that my dad had played me to sleep. So like that's as early as I can remember wanting to be a dad. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And can't do that with drums. But you know,
it would be a very different experience.
Not with that attitude.
It would be a very different
totally.
Going to sleep. Yeah.
Anyway, so it's something that I've always wanted. It, you know, like I said, the timing was accidental, but I think the absolute sheer wonderful luck of it being with an amazing person who is my person, that's fantastic. And being kind of at a stage in life where like I feel like I've already kind of like completed whatever like bucket list items. So like I've had enough of not corporate but university. Like I've followed the original career path long enough to get disillusioned with climbing the ladder, so I'm fine with that. I like having a brass quintet honestly was a bucket list, and I did that. And yeah, and then this is this is it. So like it's very exciting. It's very fun. It's lovely to be that for him. It's lovely to be a partner to Hannah and all that. We started doing something, and I've been so excited to tell somebody, and I haven't known who to tell. I'm going to tell you.
Perfect. Here it is.
And the world. Here it is. So we already, I think, we're very easygoing people, especially together. So like we have a lot just positive communication. But even still, like if you don't kind of make it a point to like make room for conversation, like it can be hard to find a place for conversation or say good or bad things of like, oh, I really appreciated this, or like actually don't do that please, or you know what I mean, like.
Yes.
if you don't make room for it, right? And so we had kind of butted heads on something, and we invented wine night. And so what it is every Sunday night, and occasionally we'll have to reschedule it to Saturday or Monday or whatever. But we sit down with a bottle of wine or tea or something, whatever. But something that we're excited about, right? Maybe we've bought a specific fancy kind of candy that week, and we're going to try it together or something, right? Okay. Then we sit down and we have 5 questions that we ask each other. What went well this week? Could be in the relationship, could be just in life, could be whatever. What didn't go well this week? Again, could be in the relationship, could be in life. Also, we're cuddling and getting maybe a little handsy. And so those things. Then what did you admire about me this week?
Ooh.
And it could be something like, oh, I thought it was really cool the way that you did this thing or that thing or like whatever. What do you have coming up this week? That way we're on the same page with the calendar, right? Functional. And then what can I do to make your week awesome? And that's a specifically framed question of, hey, is there anything you want me to stop doing or to start doing or whatever, right? But it's framed in this like, how can I make this awesome for you? And that like series of questions has been really helpful for us to like just kind of like say stuff, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And again, not that it was ever hard, it was just like we just didn't have a spot for it carved out. And that opens up a lot of other conversations, right? Because once you answer those questions, well, now you've got a million different conversations and a whole lot of different stuff to talk about. It's something that we're like really giddy and excited about. It's kind of nice little foreplay too, right? I mean, it's like this like emotional connection.
Yeah.
So it's like really good emotional connection. And sorry for saying that.
No, it's
Honey.
perfect. No, Mom, Dad, sorry.
Yeah, sorry.
Son, when you're listening in 15 years.
But right, yeah. But I mean, having real conversation, real connection, and real like moments set aside for each other is great. Being able to do that once a week is great, and it has been lovely. Not that there was ever anything like wrong really with our relationship, but already it feels like it has like really just brought a whole new level of joy and connection to us since we've been doing that for about 2 months now.
I love that. Okay, so does it ever feel silly? Does it ever feel like we don't need to do this, we're adults? Or like, I love this idea, but then I feel like trying to implement it, it feels like we're like trying to put a square peg in a round hole. Does that make sense?
So no, it does. It absolutely does. And I think, so both of us had to be on board, right? And like fully on board.
Yes.
Of like, okay, we understand that like, okay, we've butted heads a couple times and it's not because anything is deeply wrong. It's just, whatever. We like each other. We want to be connected with each other, right? And life is crazy right now with a 2-year-old running around and, and so here, so we're going to do this. So it is silly. It is a square peg in a round hole. That, it is. And that's why we create a little routine, a little tradition of like something that's we can try this wine together. If it gets too awkward, we can always say, those tannins, wow. Or, or like whatever. But it won't get awkward. And then I think too, like sticking with those, like, and that, we kind of are at a point where we kind of like habitually, we don't have to, okay, number 1.
Right.
We kind of know the drill, but also like, I know that if I have something that I need to say, like I know that I've got a space to say it, and that stays safe if we do it every time. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like, I was kind of thinking about this because a couple times I've said like, I don't know. I don't think anything, this week, whatever. But now that I think about it, I was like, maybe it's worth saying something, even if it's anything. You know, some silly thing of like, hey, can I have a high five on Tuesday? Or, you know what I mean? Like something so that you're always asking, and then that way when you have it's like pronouns, right? Of like, is it like, I don't think anybody's going to assume that I'm, you know, she, her, but I'm still going to say he, him, so that it's not, you know, it's just a little bit more normalized. Anyway.
Like you said about Tourette's, talking about it, informing people that way.
Yeah.
It's normal. It's not, so asking for something from your partner every week, like you guys do, then when you do have like an actual big ask, it's not a shock. It's not well, he's never done this before, so I don't know how to do this now.
Right. Exactly. Right. Because that's the whole reason we brought it up.
Yeah.
So it is awkward. That's the lovely part about it. We got to do it. We got to be villagers, man. We got to keep showing up. We got to make the invitations and put ourselves out there.
Oh, I love it. Tell me a little bit about, you guys live just outside of Chattanooga, right?
Yeah, we live right over the Georgia line. For anybody who doesn't know, Chattanooga, I didn't know. Chattanooga is a border city.
Yes.
And yeah, so I when I first moved to Chattanooga, I had an apartment with a Chattanooga address. But now that I live in Georgia, I'm actually closer to downtown than I did when I had a Chattanooga address.
Sure.
Not by much, like 2 minutes, but still, you know, so it takes me surface roads to, you know, get in, whatever.
Yes. So how has Chattanooga been for you?
Yes. Man, I love this, dude. You're asking you're asking me like questions that are like really meaningful and important at this point in life.
Oh, I'm glad.
Chattanooga has been lovely to me. So moving to Chattanooga, I won't tell the whole story, but suffice to say, it was a dart on the map for me. I was trying to move away from where I was living and try to get a little bit closer to home, which is Western North Carolina. And so I just started applying to a bunch of university jobs, boring ones, and I found one. And that was UTC, and UTC was the first to hire me. And so that's how I ended up here. The only people that I knew were the people at work, and not that I didn't like them, but that didn't turn out to be like a social circle. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And so I kind of had to forge that on my own. And I did that a lot with podcasting, of getting to know the local community and you and BNI and all of that stuff. And it was really hard at first. Like the first few months that I was in Chattanooga was really hard. I was dealing with some other mental health stuff from where I was coming from. And, but like once I kind of turned a corner, then I was like found my stride, found my people, found my antidepressants, found and then Chattanooga became like mine. You know what I mean? Like I felt like I could claim it a little bit, even, you know, and with transplant, whatever. But like it was a part of my story that I had built, that I had started, that I had chosen, that I, you know, all this stuff. And that was really cool. And then, it's where I met my wife. It's where I met Hannah. Even though she lived kind of far away, but this is where I was. I think the city is beautiful. One of the things that I love about Chattanooga is that like the kind of downtown vibe of it is sort of like fun for all ages, right?
Yes.
And that like the centerpiece of downtown is the aquarium. You know what I mean? And I think that just sort of sets the tone. Whereas like I had been living in Austin, where like the kind of downtown centerpiece is like music venues and stuff like that, which is cool for that, and that's fine for that, but that's a certain scene and a certain vibe. And so I really like just what Chattanooga is. I like that we have like a little city zoo that's like a good zoo.
Yes.
And it's, you know, and just stuff like that. I really like it. And now so I've given up podcasting, I no longer work at that university job, and my job is much more remote. Excuse me. It is remote, and I do a lot of the stuff that I do is in Florida, kind of around the country. I'm talking to people around, and I kind of miss having that. I really miss actually having that real connection to Chattanooga, like the city proper. And I actually started volunteering. I've only done like a couple shifts at the zoo, just to kind of have a stronger sense of place, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah. And that's been fun. The couple times that I've done it has been a lot of fun.
Chattanooga is a very special place for me too. I was telling, one of my coworkers, I was telling them about just like, it was the first city where when I got there, I was an out gay man and like, you know, wasn't having to hide that part of me. I had a boyfriend at the time, who then became my fiance, who is now my husband, all while I was living in Chattanooga. So that's wild. I truly found like a chosen family there. I got to go back just few weeks ago, and it was just so exciting. I had been gone for 6 months, and so getting to go back and just see people. So I very much feel everything that you were saying about it. It is a very, very special place.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
I love it.
It's cool.
I love it.
Yeah. It's funny. My phone I didn't get that text that you were coming in town.
No.
I must have gotten lost.
I don't think it ever went through. Oh.
Yeah. Ah, darn. Oh, well, next time. I'm just busting your chops, man. I get it. No.
Oh, Michael, you
shit.
are just one of the best people. First of all,
thanks, man.
We logged on and immediately we're just like, like we were just, you know, 7-year-olds seeing each other for the first time after, you know, a weekend away or whatever.
I know. I had this thought of like, oh man, too bad he's not recording this part.
We can do it again if you want. We can real quick.
Nah, the magic's gone.
So another question that I've asked all of my guests, why do you think storytelling is so important?
I mean, I don't know if this might be kind of a canned answer, but I think it's the way that we see the world. You know, any particular object is part of a story. That's just how it's in the brain of like what story that is and what stories intersect and all that kind of stuff. I mean, you know, so from a base perspective of how we see the world, yeah, that's important. And I mean, I think being able to like construct narrative and understand narrative gives a real kind of power, which I think a lot of people use it for good. A lot of people don't. But it's compelling. It's you know, yeah, I think that's all we have is stories and how we understand something and we think about the progression of point A, B, C, D. You know, even like, okay, let's take the most non-storytelling. Let's take like a computer motherboard or some shit. I don't know. I'm not an engineer, but like, how would we explain? We'd say, okay, well, the signal starts here and then it goes here and then we're telling a story about the signal. You know what I mean?
Yes.
And like, you almost like can't get away from understanding things in kind of that way. I can't anyway.
No, absolutely. And I like that you said the word object, that like all objects have a story. 'Cause that makes me think like, you know, there could be, let's say a rock is sitting on the ground and 3 different people walk past it and see it 3 different ways. And so now they all have a similar but different story about the same thing. And I think that too is always so interesting. That's a big reason why I like doing this podcast is I just love hearing people's sides of stories, and then if I know my side, I can add in like what I remember and what I can put in. So it's always interesting just to hear what people remember and how they tell the story versus how I remember the story. So it's never a dull moment when stories are being shared.
Yeah, totally.
Yeah. Well, Michael, do you have anything? Can people follow you? Do you have anything you want people to go look at? I know you're
No,
we're out of the
not at
podcasting
all.
world, so
Yeah. Podnuga still lives.
Yes.
Josh Wilhelm is doing that and using Podnuga to build community amongst podcasters. So that's cool. Go to the park, have fun, get a library card. I don't even have a library card. I don't know why I said that.
come on, Michael.
I know I should. You know what? Invite your friends over for board game night. And, here it is. Here's my challenge. I'm going to put a challenge out there because I did this once, or this happened to me. Throw a random person party. Here's how it works.
Okay.
You invite your friends, whoever you were going to invite anyway, but they have to bring somebody who is not like maybe like a roommate or I don't know, not part of the social circle. You define that however you want to.
Uh-huh.
Not a boyfriend, not a girlfriend or whatever, but like some random person. And then you've got a party full of half people who kind of already know each other anyway or whatever, and then half completely new people and who are down for like new experiences because that's who's going to show up to those.
Right.
And yeah, somebody brought me as their random person once, and it was a lot of fun. It was a really fun experience.
Oh, I love that. Okay, let us know if you throw a random person party. Please take some pictures, drop it in the comments. I love that, Michael. That's so. I've never thought about doing something like that before. That's awesome. That's awesome.
Thanks. Yeah.
Fantastic.
I've never done it, but maybe one day. Maybe one day.
One day. Well, Michael, thank you so much for sharing your stories. It is always good to see you, friend. And I promise the next time I come to Chattanooga, you will be the first text message that I send out. I promise.
Sounds good. Thanks, man. It was a pleasure to talk to you. I loved getting to have the chance to talk about some meaningful stories and thoughts and poke fun at myself for being an egotistical son of a bitch.